Hi, it's Caleb.
And I'm Tori.
And welcome to our podcast, Uncork and Listen. If this is your first time listening, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. If you do enjoy this podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or on Spotify, whatever platform you're listening on. Also, go ahead and follow us on Instagram. This will all be in our channel description. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Hope everyone's doing amazing. We're back with another episode.
Yeah. And today we are uncorking a bottle of Josh's Cabernet Sauvignon, which I think we actually have...
We have opened one of these before.
We have opened this before in a previous episode.
But I will say this, for me personally, I do like this one a lot, but I will say this one definitely was an accident. I didn't realize we had already done this before. I'm just so used to going...
It's probably because you really like it, and you're like,
I do.
Let's do this one.
I do. I really like this one a lot. So
but yeah. I mean, we can still discuss it, I guess, even though we have had it in the past.
I can just talk about how much I like it anyway, so...
Yeah.
All right. So, let's open this.
Woo!
That was actually kind of hard.
Mazel tov!
Okay. Alright.
You're like, okay.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me sit back down.
And you can go ahead and pour that. And I just kind of wanted to make another disclaimer that we have Lucy in the building again.
Yes.
My puppy.
She's been featured before.
She's been
in the previous episode, actually.
She's been doing really good today, so I don't think she will necessarily make any noise, but I just felt like I needed to say that just in case.
Yeah. All right.
Cheers.
Let me set this down real quick. Ooh. All right, cheers. All right.
That was a little clangy, but whatever.
Clangy, it's fine. I like this stuff.
That is delicious.
It's good because it still gives that tart, but it's also on the dry side too.
Yeah, but it's not too dry. Honestly, like out of
Josh's is good, guys.
It's good.
From what we both have experienced and like what we prefer in like wine, I feel like Josh's is.
This is like a nice middle ground between dry, but not too dry. It has a little bit of a zing. It's got that smoky flavor, which I always go for personally.
I feel like you've read this. Have you read this one before? I'm assuming you have.
I have because we have
had this one before, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Do you want me just to read it off real quick?
Let's just do it again.
A refresher.
But before you say anything, if I'm remembering this correctly, there was a lot of berry related kind of stuff. Also, I think it was like cinnamon or nutmeg or something.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Good memory.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
I can taste in this.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's funny because, like I said,
some kind of spice.
I said this previously in the episode. I have been drinking this specific wine for quite some time. Excuse me. And I really do. I don't ever really think I thought about this stuff really, but now that we actually are kind of going over the different flavors and stuff, the different tones and stuff, I can really, I can taste it now. So
interesting. All right, would you like me to read? Lucy is
she is starting to whine a little bit.
We'll see how that goes. But it says our Cabernet Sauvignon was the first wine we made. This is the wine that started it all, setting the exacting standards that we hold ourselves to for all of our varietals.
Yes.
Round and juicy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Round and juicy. Okay.
I see. Our Cabernet Sauvignon has flavors of blackberry, toasted hazelnut, and cinnamon. Yeah.
Hazelnut.
And there's
I think it's a nutmeg.
No
nutmeg. It's hazelnut and cinnamon. So I was kind of close.
I wanted to mention one of the reasons why I don't tend to be a big red wine fan.
Sure.
Is not because of the flavor. Like, I think this is delicious.
It's good flavor.
But it heats me up. Like, I've only had a few sips, and I feel like
you're
it's
already
going
feeling
straight
it
to my face.
Right.
Like, is that just me?
I mean, that's how it is for some people.
It affects me differently than white wine. White wine is a lot easier to drink. And
sure.
I guess a lot of times it's chilled, too, so it's already kind of a colder... Where this, you don't chill red wine. So I don't know.
You don't. If you chill red wine, that's crazy.
Right, and it definitely is a higher alcohol content. It says that it's 13.5.
Yes.
So that could be why.
Yeah, that could be why. Could be why.
But yeah.
Anyway. All right. So, we actually, I know we talked a lot about Hollywood history and specific actors and actresses like during that time, and we wanted to kind of continue, excuse you, Lucy, we wanted to continue we wanted to go into a part 2.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot to talk about.
There's
this stuff.
so much. And honestly,
there just is.
You know, we're just doing a part 2 for now, but there's so much in this topic that we could even do more episodes on, honestly.
Yep, absolutely.
But what do we have for today?
So we wanted to kind of get into Marilyn Monroe a lot because there's just quite a few things that she has done later on in the years of Hollywood, and she was like this huge staple, especially for like men and stuff like that, because she was this beautiful, just kind of almost in a way a sex symbol.
She was,
to a degree,
100%.
Like she was this sex symbol, but we kind of wanted to get into her story a little bit and learning about that. So
yeah, that'd be fun.
Let's just dive right in.
I've actually always been a Marilyn Monroe fan. Like, I've really been interested in, you know, older movies and stuff like that, like since I was younger, like, you know, middle school, high school. And she was always kind of like my go-to at that time. Going through middle school and high school, like, I just loved her movies and her stuff. Like, Some Like It Hot. Like,
yes, great movie.
I just always loved her stuff. So I've always personally been a fan of her.
Yeah.
But one thing that we wanted to do just starting out is we kind of wanted to look up like the origins of her career, like
how she got started.
Yeah, when she got started in the industry and everything.
So yeah, let's just go ahead and just kind of look into that a little bit. So here we have just a little bit. It says, born and raised in Los Angeles, Monroe spent most of her childhood in a total of 12 foster homes.
Ooh, yeah.
She was a foster kid.
Mm-hmm. She actually has...
I did not know that.
Yeah, she has a pretty sad story, honestly.
Wow. I'm 12 foster homes?
Yeah, that's rough.
That's rough. I feel like, obviously, like, kids go into foster homes and stuff, and that's, like, great, and that's wonderful at times, but, like, if you're going through 12...
That's
rough.
Good.
Wow. I did not know that. That's very new to me. Okay, sorry guys, but let's get back into this. So, Monroe spent most of her childhood in a total of 12 foster homes and an orphanage before marrying James Dougherty? Dougherty?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that. Maybe, yeah.
That? It's Dougherty.
At age 16.
See, y'all, girl. Okay, listen.
One thing that I want to say.
That already is getting me irritated.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I want to say that's pretty common with girls like this having a rough childhood and everything, and not like she didn't have her parents and everything. I feel like she was basically constantly looking for a dad figure.
Probably.
And
I would think so.
That's why, like, she got married a ton of different times, and they were all older men.
And how do you feel about that?
Right.
Yeah, like, they were always older men that she got married to, like,
so
quite a bit older.
And this is, mind you guys, I just want you all to understand, like, I know a little bit about Marilyn Monroe. I feel like Tori has way more knowledge on this than I do. But I started reading a little bit about her and her family. And something that really caught my attention that I was not aware of is her ethnicity. Like, is she Caucasian fully?
I mean,
do you know specifically?
It looks, I mean, I know her natural hair color is brown.
Okay.
So she bleached her hair.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is because it says here, and this is from Business Insider. I'm not entirely sure what that is. The company, the website, whatever. But it says that Monroe has ties to Mexico, as her mother was born there before moving to California.
Interesting.
So does she have Hispanic?
I don't think her mom was Mexican.
Okay. Well, it says she has ties to it because her mother was born there.
Yeah, we'd have to delve into that.
We would have to dive into that a little more. But basically, yeah, so as we round this all up before we get into her actual career, she apparently had been in several foster homes. which is very unfortunate. Like that, I'm sure that was very hard.
Yeah.
For her. She got married at such a freaking young age.
Yeah.
To me, that is just absolutely bonkers. But what is it? What else is there?
Yeah.
Something ties to something Hispanic?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of read this out.
Sure.
It's just interesting, kind of like her backstory. So Marilyn Monroe is not her real name.
Sure. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's not her real name. It's like her stage name, basically. Her birth name was Norma Jean Mortensen.
Norman Jean.
Norma.
Yeah,
Norma Jean Mortensen.
Wow. Okay. I guess I could ask, like, how she got the name Marilyn Monroe, but that's a whole other thing we could get into, I guess.
And I'm sure we could find that somewhere.
Sure.
But yeah, so her story, she was born June 1st, 1926, at the Los Angeles General Hospital. Her mother, Gladys Pearl Baker, was born in Mexico to a poor Midwestern family who migrated to California at the turn of the century.
So is her mom Hispanic?
But her mom's name is Gladys Pearl Baker.
We have got to look up her mother.
That doesn't sound Mexican.
It does not. But that does not really sound like a Spanish kind of name. But I'm wondering why. Like,
I mean, it says that she was born to
in itself is interesting.
It says a poor Midwestern family.
Okay.
Which
could mean that they were living in some area of Western America.
Yeah, and then they moved
to Mexico for whatever reason, and then moved back to California. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it says at age 15, actually. Oh, this is talking about her mother. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Rough.
It's rough. So at age 15, her mom had married someone named John Newton Baker, who was an abusive man 9 years her senior.
Jeez.
They had 2 children together, Robert and Bernice. And she successfully filed for divorce and sole custody of her 2 oldest in 1923.
Wow.
But Baker kidnapped the children soon after and moved with them to his native Kentucky.
Kentucky? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
And listen to this. This is wild. Like this
girl had a childhood.
Yeah, like
seriously.
Rough. It says Monroe was not told that she had a sister until she was 12, and they met for the first time in 1944 when she was 17 or 18. Yeah. And it says, following the divorce, her mom worked as a film negative cutter at Consolidated Film Industries. Okay,
no
so that's probably how she kind of got into
the film industry.
Because her mom.
Now we're getting to the point of how, like, the origins of Marilyn Monroe in Hollywood. Okay,
yeah.
So this would be it right here.
Mm-hmm. It says her second marriage occurred. I think this is still talking about her mother.
Okay.
Maybe. In 1924 when she married Martin Edward Mortensen, which is obviously Marilyn Monroe's dad because that's her last name.
Right.
It says they separated just months later and divorced in 1928.
Wow.
Oh. What? Oh.
Whoa. Is this about to get bad?
So this is stuff that I did not know. Like this is some drama.
Not only are some of our viewers probably learning some of this stuff, we're learning too. This is stuff that, like, we at least have some sort of knowledge in, but we're not fully in it.
This is new.
So this is just new information we're learning too, guys. So,
and this is actually
hop on in, y'all.
This is fairly recent information here.
Really?
Yes. So in 2022. So
2 years ago.
2 years ago, DNA testing indicated that Monroe's father was actually Charles Stanley Gifford.
Who is that?
A co-worker of her mother, who she had an affair with in 1925.
Oh my god!
Right? So that Mortensen fella was not actually her
face
dad.
red?
No, you're good.
Oh, good, okay.
Isn't that wild?
That is crazy.
They just discovered this in a DNA test 2 years ago.
No. Y'all, you heard it here. You heard it here.
Right?
That is so crazy.
Uh-huh. And it
Shut
says
the
she also has 2 other half-siblings from that marriage with Gifford's first wife. Okay.
Wild.
Apparently, according to this, I'm not sure, I guess, the total accuracies here, but it says that even though her mom was mentally and financially unprepared for a child, Monroe's early childhood was actually stable and happy.
Okay.
Her mom placed her daughter with evangelical Christian foster parents in the rural town of Hawthorne.
Hawthorne.
She also lived there for 6 months until she was forced to move back to the city for employment. She then began visiting her daughter on weekends, and in the summer of 1933, her mom bought a small house in Hollywood with a loan.
Wow.
And they moved 7-year-old Monroe in with her. And they shared a house with some lodgers, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
And then apparently in 1934, her mom had a mental breakdown and was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia.
Oh, gosh.
That's rough, dude.
Damn.
So then, after several months in a rest home, she was committed to the Metropolitan State Hospital, and she spent the rest of her life in and out of hospitals and was rarely in contact with Monroe. So at that point, she became a ward of the state, Marilyn Monroe did, and her mother's friend took responsibility over her and her mother's affairs. That is intense, dude.
That is so crazy. I mean, like, okay, can I just say, I know we were wanting to, like, dive into, like the Hollywood side of stuff.
But this is still interesting.
But we have sunken into this history and this story of what her life technically was like before hitting Hollywood.
Which explains
I did not expect us to go into this. But
Yeah.
it's actually quite fascinating.
It is.
And I mean, I don't know. I feel like there used to be this whole, like, stigma kind of thing behind Marilyn Monroe. Mm-hmm. Like, am I wrong for saying? I mean, I just feel like
What do
as
you
a
mean?
kid,
Well,
there was always like this. Oh my God, she was just sex symbol and blah 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 blah.
Well,
Which I mean, she was.
I mean, she did Playboy.
Right, but I remember, like, there was just a lot of hate towards her. Mm-hmm.
I honestly, even though obviously her life is quite messy,
right? But whose life isn't messy?
I always kind of felt for her, though, honestly, because it's like when you realize where she came from, people in many ways are a production of their environment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's the way that they are for a reason.
Exactly.
And
very true.
You have to be able to acknowledge that. And that's why I always liked her and just kind of felt for her, you know, because she honestly kind of had a rough life. But she was talented, and I, love the work that she did.
Oh, yeah.
But,
she was amazing.
Yeah. So something else to add to all this. It's pretty heavy. It's not
all right.
great.
We don't really put heavy stuff on this show, but you know what? We can't avoid that like all the time, right?
Right, it's true.
So, but anyway, go ahead.
So over the next 4 years, her living situation changed quite often.
Okay.
And it says that for the first 16 months, she continued living with this family, and she was being sexually abused during that time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Damn.
And she was actually a very shy girl. And everybody in Hollywood, like, if you listen to interviews of people who worked with her and stuff, they always said, like, she was actually a very quiet, reserved kind of person.
Right.
So she really just came out, like, when she was doing film and stuff. But she was actually very, like, reserved.
Oh, man.
Which is kind of understandable going through all this crap, like... So it looked like she basically at this point was kind of in and out of like orphan homes and foster homes. And then it looks like she was molested again later on.
Oh my goodness.
So it's just a whole freaking mess, which would explain why she was in and out of foster homes, because she was probably being abused and then was sent somewhere else.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
And it says here that her childhood experience first made her want to become an actress. She's quoted as saying that, "I didn't like the world around me because it was kind of grim. When I heard that this was acting, I said, that's what I want to be.
Wow.
Some of my foster families used to send me to the movies to get me out of the house, and there I'd sit all day and wait into the night. Up in front, there with a screen so big, a little kid all alone, and I loved it."
Wow.
So it sounds like she just kind of fell in love with the industry because, you know, she was sent to the theater a lot. Yeah. And it was something that
it was a safe space for her.
It probably was a safe space.
And so she wanted to have a career in a place that she felt safe. Mm-hmm. Which, that in itself is a whole thing we get into. Mm-hmm. But wow, that is...
I literally got, like, chills just then.
Yeah.
Like, dang, okay.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you want to share on that?
So it looks like in the early 40s, she met a photographer. Apparently...
She met a photographer. Interesting.
It looks like this photographer actually he knew Ronald Reagan.
Oh, well, Ronald Reagan did Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
At one point,
it looks like
he was from California.
It looks like it was like through the military though that they knew each other.
Oh,
but anyway, so she basically, you know, long story short, became a model initially.
Yes.
From there,
right? From
having these connections, and so she kind of went into the whole like pin-up style, of modeling and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's where she, I guess, first got started, and that's when she dyed her hair blonde.
Okay, because blonde was like the staple hair look. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in some cases to this day it still is.
And apparently when she was modeling, a lot of times the name that she went by was Jean Norman.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Wow. Yeah,
so it looks like she started to try to get into Hollywood by the later 40s, and she was doing screen tests. It looks like she was actually turned down by Paramount Pictures at one point.
Oh, wow. And by this point, how old would she have been? Do you know? I don't know if you know what her age was.
I mean, probably like early 20s.
Okay.
Like somewhere in her 20s,
sure.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
So it looks like at first she kind of had a hard time getting in. And it looks like it says August of 1946, she selected the stage name Marilyn Monroe.
Wow. That is craziness.
And it says that the first name was picked by this man from one of these picture companies.
Okay.
He said that she reminded him of a Broadway star named Marilyn Miller. So they picked Marilyn for her first name.
Right.
And then apparently Monroe was her mother's maiden name.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
It honestly, it has a ring to it. Marilyn Monroe.
It does. It really does.
It's a pretty name. Mm-hmm. Pretty name.
It says that she worked, her first 6 months, once she finally got into the industry, she worked for Fox, and she was learning acting, singing, and dancing. Okay. And also just observing the filmmaking process. So her first film was in 1947. It's called Dangerous Years.
Dangerous Years. Have you seen that or no?
I actually haven't seen that.
Okay. And if you all don't know this, Tori is all about like these older Hollywood kind of movies. I mean, she has a bunch of them.
Oh yeah.
That's why I asked her. That's why I asked you. Yeah. And I was like, "Have you seen this movie?"
I actually haven't.
Okay.
It probably wasn't that popular it was like her first movie.
Sure.
I've honestly never even heard of it.
Right. Okay.
It looks.
So this was her first movie, like Hollywood,
yes, in 1947. And something kind of interesting to point out here So she said, my first taste of what real acting and a real drama could be, referring to this movie.
Sure.
And she said that she was hooked. So she
was like, this is
she loved it.
This is my life.
But it says, despite her enthusiasm, her teachers thought her to be too shy and insecure to have a future in acting, so Fox did not renew her contract after that.
I feel like that's not the reason. I feel like there's, but I feel like deep down, I feel like there were other reasons.
It's possible.
Her insecurities?
She was too shy.
I mean, like, I guess everyone has freaking insecurities about certain things about themselves. But what? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's just stupid. Yeah. That's just a dumb excuse.
Uh-huh. But it looks like she was determined. Like, this is what she wanted to do. So
and
she didn't give up.
She freaking fought for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she kept going at it. So, fun fact, did you know that she was married to Joe DiMaggio at one point? The baseball star? Joe DiMaggio?
No.
Yeah.
She had all these...
Oh, yeah.
Like...
She was married to some, like, pretty prestigious
people.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those people... I mean, should we just hop right into that, actually?
Well, there's something that I wanted to actually mention.
Okay,
sure.
Go ahead.
Since I mentioned Joe DiMaggio, just something that I know about that whole thing is apparently he was actually like a really conservative type dude.
Okay.
And I mean, she's freaking Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
The girl ain't conservative.
Right.
Can we just say that?
Can't
like, she's
been.
a freaking pinup model.
In that specific era. Like,
like
nothing about her was
she was
conservative.
A sex symbol, basically. Like, she literally did pictures for Playboy and stuff. Like, so it's like, you should know who you're marrying, a little bit here. But
so he couldn't have been that conservative.
He was, though.
Right.
That's what I'm kind of getting at. And I think that's probably the downfall of their marriage and why that didn't last. But are you familiar with a movie called 7-Year Itch? That she did?
I think I actually have heard of it. I haven't seen it, though.
It's a very iconic Marilyn Monroe thing. It's like, have you seen all the pictures with her, like, wearing a white dress?
Oh,
and
yeah.
it, like, flowing up?
Oh,
and she's, like,
yes!
pushing it down.
Okay, yeah.
That's from 7-Year Itch.
Okay.
And so, basically, what happened...
7-Year Itch.
That's what it's called. It's about this girl who's been married for 7 years and I guess starts to get antsy and she basically is... seeing someone else on the side.
Oh,
kind of
wait. Does she get like some STD or something?
No.
Is that why she's got the itch?
Yeah. That's what it's called, though, is like, it's like 7 years in, you're kind of like antsy, maybe getting bored.
Oh, okay. We're talking about that kind of an itch.
Yes, that's what it means.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Not like that. Ew.
Not that kind of an itch.
But
that's funny.
So that's a very, very well-known movie that she did, like in the early 50s, and that's when she was married to Joe DiMaggio.
Okay.
And they're basically filming that scene where she's walking down the street in New York, and all like the subway systems underneath,
right?
Would send like a gust of air up through the grates on the ground.
Yep.
So basically, it was totally impromptu. Initially, it happened on accident, where she was just walking, and it, like, flew her dress up.
Right.
And they were like, oh, we gotta get this. It's gotta be part of the movie. We gotta get this shot.
Right.
And so they spent probably, like, hours, basically, in that area trying to recreate it for the film.
Sure. Wow.
And... a ton of people were gathered around. Everybody's looking. And,
of course.
Her dress is flying up. Like, her underwear is
Everyone
showing.
Wants to see.
And everything. Right? It's Marilyn Monroe. Right? But Joe DiMaggio was there on set.
Oh, Lord.
During
that
that moment. Well. And he literally, like, from what I've heard, is, like, his face literally went, like, white as a ghost. And he was just so uncomfortable with it.
Right.
He hated... that his wife was basically being exposed for everybody to see. He literally couldn't handle it, and he literally ended up leaving the set and went home because he couldn't handle it.
Gosh.
So...
that's crazy. I mean, I remember, like, I know there's, like, a whole picture of it, and it became, like, this whole just iconic excuse me, this whole iconic thing. Excuse me, guys. But I didn't realize that was all going on.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think that was basically the downfall of their relationship because he just couldn't handle that kind of stuff. And she's going to be doing that because she's Marilyn Monroe.
Gosh, that is some wild stuff.
But one thing that I know about her as well is they always tended to cast her in these kind of like dumb blonde kind of roles.
Yeah.
And she was actually a very smart, intellectual type person. Like, she loved reading. Like, that was like what you see on screen in all these movies of Marilyn Monroe is not actually who she was.
Right.
She was a very shy, reserved, intellectual kind of person, liked reading, very smart.
Yeah.
And it kind of like started to get to her. Like, she didn't like that she was constantly being cast in those kind of roles because it's just not her at all.
Yeah.
And so basically, like, there's just like this whole drama with that where she basically, you know, once she was well established and had money, like, and all this stuff,
right,
she basically kind of wanted to go off on her own and basically start her own production company and put on stuff that was more of like who she actually was. Wow. But I don't think that ended up panning out very well.
Yeah.
But that's just something that I happen to know about her.
And there was just a lot of I don't know specifically regarding that. There was just a lot of downfall.
Yeah, there was.
At that point.
Because
it feels like.
So the thing
correct me if I'm
that
wrong.
I've learned about Hollywood, especially at that time, maybe it's the same way now, I don't know.
Right.
But it's tough to be a star.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's all up in your business all the time and stuff. And she didn't do a very good job at surrounding herself with a good support system.
Sure.
She was a shy person, actually.
Sure.
So she wasn't very sociable. She didn't put herself out there. So she didn't have this huge friend group in Hollywood. She just had like random close friends here or there. So I think she was actually a very lonely person.
Right.
And it was,
Excuse me.
You know, kind of a tough situation for her. And from what I've heard from people is in order to really make it in Hollywood and to be a happy, successful person, you kind of have to make friends and to be surrounded by...
You have to have good connections and be... I mean, because a lot... Like, and this goes for anything. This is not just Hollywood, but you have to have good connections and you have to know people.
And you need a good support system.
And, well, obviously, yeah, you need a good support system, but I'm saying, like, I'm talking, like, in the career-wise, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's not always about, like, oh, I'm just that good. No.
Right. No.
Sometimes you just have to have good connections with people.
It's true, yes.
You have to know the right people at the right time.
In some ways, that was kind of her downfall and the reason why she was honestly, like, kind of a sad person.
Right.
Is because she just didn't have good people around her all the time that were just in her corner.
Right.
You know, no matter what. So I think she was definitely taken advantage of and she just didn't get the parts that she wanted and just XYZ because I personally feel like people walked all over her in many ways.
But I do want to go ahead and dive into like a specific like stuff that she has actually been in because we have talked about she's been in a lot of movies. Like a lot of movies.
And you can look it up if you want like a list of her movies. But one of my favorites is obviously Some Like It Hot. Like that is a solid movie.
That is a solid movie. And I just recently watched that for the first time. Because let me say this real quick. I actually, I wouldn't say living, but I was in New York City last year for quite a bit. Uh-huh. And I flew back from here in Manhattan constantly with my ex. And I would see a bunch of shows. And we actually got to see Some Like It Hot, which at the time... When I was seeing it, it was actually being rehearsed. Like, it was like almost like a dress rehearsal kind of thing. Okay. But, and apparently they actually won a lot of awards, Tony Awards.
That's cool.
Which is really, really cool. But they redid it and it was amazing. And Marilyn Monroe was in the...
original.
The OG.
Yeah. It's a black and white. It's a solid movie.
It really is.
If nobody's seen it, highly, highly recommend.
Yes. Very, very good.
But something that I wanted to mention, just talking about Marilyn Monroe and
Right.
just stuff that I know about her life and stuff at the time, is she actually was not doing well during the filming of that movie.
I think we actually talked about, well, not on this podcast, but like you and I have talked about it.
Yeah, probably. So she actually wasn't doing well, and like she would show up late sometimes. Like I think they had kind of a hard time working with her in that movie.
Sure.
Which is crazy if you see the movie and how amazing it is.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Like, you would never know.
Yeah.
Like, she's literally just that good of an actress that she can just all of a sudden just turn it all off and be there for the camera.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody liked her, and that's why nobody actually ended up like firing her or like getting rid of her at that time, because it's like obviously like
she was just too good.
She's struggling, but it's like, man, like once the cameras come on, that girl is on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what people definitely liked her for. But I just happened to know she was married to somebody else at that time. She's had many marriages.
Right.
But she was trying to have kids with her husband at that time. And she literally had a miscarriage during the filming.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You did tell me about that.
Yeah, so it was just not a great time for her.
But she still somehow...
She
just frickin' pulled it along. She did it. I mean...
So, do you want me just to read off some of her movies?
Yeah, let's just do that. I mean, I feel like you know more movies of hers than I do. So I figured I would just kind of let you take the wheel on this.
I'll just list off some of the more well-known ones. Not all of these are, like, as popular. So I'll just try to read off the more popular ones that I know did well.
Yeah.
So obviously, Some Like It Hot.
Yes.
There's one called The Prince. Yeah, there's one called The Prince and the Showgirl.
Okay.
There's one called Bus Stop. And then 7 Year Itch, which I mentioned.
Yes.
And then there's one called There's No Business Like Show Business.
Oh my gosh! I actually know that one.
Do you?
Yes. I mean, I haven't seen it in forever, but I have seen it. I was young.
Okay.
I was younger.
Okay.
And have you seen all these movies that you're listing? Or is there...
Not all of them, honestly. I've been wanting to watch some of these. I haven't watched all of them.
Yeah.
And then there's one called River of No Return, which is actually one of her more serious movies, because I told you she kept wanting to have more serious roles.
Sure.
And that one, I think it's kind of like a Western kind of a thing.
Okay.
She plays a more serious part in that one, River of No Return. And then, so the next two that I'm going to mention, I have watched, and I love both of them.
Okay.
So... one is called How to Marry a Millionaire. So good. Have you seen that one?
No.
It's so freaking good. She was in that movie with Betty Grable and Lauren Bacall.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Solid. Up. If y'all haven't seen it, look up How to Marry a Millionaire. I love that movie.
Okay.
It's basically about these, like, 3 single women who are basically trying to get married to a millionaire. So they go through all these, like, schemes and stuff, trying to get
oh my gosh.
a rich dude, basically.
Yes, okay.
It's funny.
Okay.
And then the next one, which is also iconic, that I own these too, it's called Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
Oh.
Have you heard of that one?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that one's good too.
Okay.
And then there's one called Niagara. There's one called Monkey Business.
Okay.
She did a lot of movies.
Yeah, it seems like it. I was scrolling through it on my phone, and I was like, damn. She's done a lot of stuff.
So those are the ones that I just wanted to highlight that I know were the most popular. There's a bunch of other ones, too.
So, guys, if you want to check those movies out, throw in some old classic Hollywood in there and just...
yeah.
Check it out.
They're good.
Some of it's like... I mean, I've seen some of it, and it's good. Like, I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. But we should do that after our little trivia game.
Okay, you want to jump into a game?
Let's do our little, like, game segment.
Okay, take a little break.
Cool. Alright, guys. So, we kind of wanted to do a little quote-unquote throwback, because we used to do these, like, we used to do these like game segments where we would figure out like when this movie came out or when this game came out. Well, I mean, like, or I don't even know.
Just guessing years.
Basically guessing when like specific candies or snacks or stuff came out. We had to guess like a specific year or decade or whatever.
Right.
And Tori and I decided to bring that back into our podcast. So we wanted to stick kind of with toys because we had done a few toys previously.
Right.
And we have a few things on the list that we kind of wanted to cover.
Yeah.
But I think the first one we should go over is Legos.
Ooh, Legos.
When did Legos... When was Legos first debuted? When did they first come to be and children were obsessed? Mm-hmm. Right?
That's actually, like, I do not know at all.
I have no earthly idea. I do want to see, I definitely do want to say it was before our time.
Oh, for sure.
I want to say that, but I don't know, like, is this like a... Part of me feels like it's like, I don't know. We're our dads.
I don't know.
Like,
See, that's the thing. I was trying to think, and honestly, I don't recall them really talking about Legos. Because in my mind, initially, I was thinking, like, was it in the 70s?
Right. That's what I was thinking.
That was my initial thought.
I was thinking late 70s is what my brain was going to. But I was like, were my parents, like...
Yeah, I don't remember them talking about Legos.
My parents don't... I don't know my parents don't know either.
Could it be the 80s?
It could be. I'm gonna say...
I mean, if it's the 80s, it's literally like 1980.
Right.
Early.
I mean, right. I'm gonna say the late 1980s.
Okay.
It might be... Excuse me. It might be earlier. But let me look it up real quick. Wait, do you want to give your... Alright, so we have this pulled up. We have, when did Legos come out? And I said the late 80s, and you said...
I said 1980s.
1980s area.
Like early on.
Which is pretty much... Yeah, pretty much what I have too as well. But I have it up. Uh-huh. And your jaw's gonna drop.
Okay. Is it way earlier?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So, Lego first launched in 1932. So this was like Great Depression times. This was when Franklin Delano Roosevelt came out.
Why did we never hear about Legos from our dads, though?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I was going to say, like, the 70s initially, which obviously is still very wrong.
We're way off.
But the reason why I picked the 80s is because I don't remember our parents talking about that.
No. My dad apparently, to my knowledge, never had Legos. I mean, maybe he did and he just never talked about it. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, apparently they were first launched in 1932.
Wow.
Legos have gone to become one of the most popular and beloved toys in the world. Right. We take a look at history of a colorful building blocks when... I
wonder what they looked like at the original. Like, were they just the same, like, plastic pieces, or...
I mean, we can't... Obviously, our viewers can't see this stuff, but I'm looking at... Tori.
Can I see?
This is so freaking crazy.
Wow. It does it looks the same.
They do. The blocks look the same, but... So, basically, Tori and I are both looking at these, like... We're looking at... Lucy's going crazy right now in the crate. But anyway... we're looking at these boxes that the Legos would have been in. Mm-hmm. This looks like 1960s.
It kind of does, yeah.
Like 50s, 60s children. Mm-hmm. Like, they're probably not even alive.
That's wild.
Like, these kids in these photos are probably not even alive. Yeah. For all we know. God, that is so... That's crazy.
You want to go into the next one?
Something we did not know, and now we know. Okay.
That's crazy.
All right, so the next one is Barbie.
Ooh, Barbie.
The Barbie doll. Now, I will say, I have some knowledge on Barbie that,
like, do you know when it came out?
I know it's an older doll. I know that for a fact.
Right.
I want to say probably the 50s.
Yeah,
is when the first
I was
Barbie was released.
I was honestly thinking the 50s too, but I almost wanted to say like 48 or 49.
I mean, you're probably right, because, and the only reason why I'm saying this is Barbie was one of those very almost not controversial dolls. It was I feel like it was during a time where they were creating dolls in a very almost kind of progressive way, because these were dolls that were like growing up in, well, excuse me, not growing up, like they were almost like they were creating dolls that were working in an office, or like they actually had like these jobs kinds of things.
They're women. They're
women.
Dolls.
They're dolls, and they're supposed to represent women. And I feel like it's just this. I don't know how to really explain it, but I know it was during a very controversial time where women were in the work world, and it was this whole thing that people were losing their mind over. So regarding that, I'm gonna say Barbie came out in the early 1950s.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that.
Which I'm similar to you. I was gonna, because I feel like a lot of this stuff is older than we think. So I was thinking like the late 40s, like 48, 49.
Okay. There we go. It has to be somewhere around that time. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. So, Barbie was debuted on March 9th of 1959.
Oh, 59.
59.
So that's later than
it's a little later than I was thinking, but it still kind of fits in that era. But yeah, so Barbie debuted at the New York Toy Fair. New York Toy Fair. The first Barbie wore a black and white striped swimsuit. And her signature ponytail. And guys, if you have seen the Barbie movie, at the very beginning of the Barbie movie with Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, fascinating, incredible actors, by the way.
Yeah.
They did, at the very beginning of the movie, Margot Robbie is dressed up, because she's Barbie, dressed up as the very, very first Barbie. And I know, our viewers cannot see this, but I want to show Tori the first Barbie doll ever.
Oh, look at that.
That's it right
She
there.
looks like Lucille Ball. She has red hair.
Yes.
Red lipstick.
Yes. But isn't that crazy? And also, one thing I kind of want to point out is look at the face structure of the doll. It's very like...
It's very like 50s, 60s.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
This is actually really, really cool stuff. But yeah, so Barbie came out... 1959. Huh. 1959, guys. All right, so I think we're going to do one more real quick. We're going to do one more. I think we should do Hot Wheels.
Oh, Hot Wheels. Ooh.
Hot Wheels is, I feel like, a very popular boys kind of, and I'm using quotes when I say this, boys kind of toy.
I mean, we all grew up with it. I had brothers. So.
Right, you have brothers. I personally loved Hot Wheels. My sisters love Hot Wheels as well.
Yeah, so, it's cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
The different tracks.
But I feel like, okay, so going into this, I know Hot Wheels have been around for a while.
Yeah.
But the question is, I always keep going back to what toys did my parents have? And what time and age were they, like, when they would have been playing with toys and how that would connect with with these specific toys that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, off the top of my head, I was just thinking maybe like the late 70s.
Okay.
Because I was
I was thinking that too, honestly.
I was like, the first thing that came to my mind was honestly like the 80s. But I feel like we need to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room here. Because I feel like a lot of times we're wrong. So that's what I was thinking, like maybe late 70s.
I'm going to take a risk here. I could be very wrong. But I kind of want to say the 60s. I want to say the 60s, maybe even the 50s. Maybe. Oh. And I'm going far back.
See, I'm trying to, because
I could be wrong, guys. I could be wrong.
I watch a lot of like old shows and stuff.
Sure.
From like 50s, 60s, and I've personally never
seen stuff like that.
Yeah, I've never seen it in those. Not to say that
I'm gonna say the 60s, just to kind of meet in the middle.
And I'm still sticking with late 70s, personally.
Sounds good. So let's look this up real quick. When did Hot Wheels come out? Oh, burn images. Okay. Okay. So Hot Wheels were introduced in May of 1968.
Oh, okay.
So I was a little there.
Closer.
I was a little there. Yeah, so Hot Wheels, it says here, Hot Wheels might be the best-selling toy brand of all time, with a total production of more than 6 billion cars since the brand's founding in 1968.
Interesting.
Guys, I loved Hot Wheels.
Oh,
if you know anyone in my family, or at least my siblings and my parents specifically, if we're gonna narrow it down, I was obsessed.
Yeah.
With those Matchbox cars.
Right.
Obsessed.
And did y'all have those
the carpet with the roads?
Yes,
yep.
That's what
I had so many of those.
And that
and I would lay them out in my room, and I would make sure the roads connected with the other. Yep. I have that stuff.
That kind of stuff makes the childhood imagination just go wild.
And I remember early on in my life playing with Hot Wheels, Matchbox cars, Hot Wheels specifically. And just I played with them forever.
Oh,
I had to have been in my preteen years when I actually ended up stopping because it got weird, quote unquote weird, to play with Matchbox cars, because it wasn't cool. Right. But if I didn't have that insecurity in me, I probably still be playing with them.
They're cool. It's
they
fun.
are cool and they're fun. And people and you could literally get you could get Jeeps. It wasn't always a crazy Hot Wheel looking car.
Yeah, there were some really cool.
You get a Jeep, a Prius, or all these just random cars you could just buy.
Right.
And it was just fun.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I will always remember going back to those days of playing with my Hot Wheels and stuff. So yeah. But we're going to stop there. We're going to go back into our segment. We wanted to talk more about Hollywood. And I kind of want to stick more into Marilyn Monroe stuff. I feel like this episode's turning into just Marilyn Monroe, which is fine.
There's more to kind of delve into.
There's just way, way, way more we could actually talk about. But we kind of dove a lot into just a lot of her films, a lot of her background, of who she was and how she kind of was raised and how her life was before going into the Hollywood world, basically. But, what are some specific things you kind of wanted to get into?
At this point, since we've kind of talked about her life and her films and stuff, it's kind of sad and it's a bit morbid, I guess.
It is.
But These all know
past couple episodes are a little more serious than what we normally do, which is fine.
That's right. No, this stuff is just fascinating to me, honestly.
This is good stuff.
But I'm assuming we all know about her death and how she died very, very early. Yes. You can look up when she died just so that we can be specific, but I'm pretty sure she was in her early 30s. She died way too young.
Wow. Gosh, I just pulled it up. So she died in 1962.
Okay.
But she actually ended up dying on Aaron's, Tori's brother, Aaron.
Yeah.
Literally died on his birthday.
No way.
Yep, August 4th. August 4th of 1962.
And how old was she?
She was 36.
Oh, so she was in her later 30s. Okay, but that's still way too young.
This woman, guys, no. I'm not saying she would, at this point in day and age, right? Right in this moment, the chances of her being alive are kind of low. It's possible.
No, but she could. A lot of these people could have. But
obviously, in this case, she was not, she really did not have a long life, which is so unfortunate. But let me just go ahead and read this. On the evening of August 4th, 1962, American actress Marilyn Monroe died at age 36. It says it was an overdose.
That's what they all say,
inside
man.
her home at 12305 Fifth Helena Drive in Brentwood, Los Angeles, California. Her body was discovered before dawn the following morning of August 5th.
Yeah.
That's what it says. But that's a whole thing we could get into, and a lot of people...
so many people that have, quote-unquote, died this way. And
it's
like, it's an easy way of writing something off. Like, oh, they just had a drug overdose. Because we're talking... You know, like Michael Jackson died the same way.
Oh, right. He had an overdose.
I'm telling you, man, I don't believe it.
Like, there's just certain things. Right. And, and I feel like, and this could be like, this is a whole kind of like conspiracy theory kind of situation. But honestly,
think about it for a second. Like,
right.
Dude.
It's a lot of just very like, if you sit down and think about it, it's kind of like, no. I personally have a hard time believing it with some of these cases. Yeah. Quite frankly.
Yeah.
I do.
And just knowing...
Some of it just does not make sense.
Knowing the kind of people that these folks are connected to, they had a lot of quote-unquote friends in high places. Right. You know, they were... And
as we all know, Hollywood is not... Like, I mean, at this point, like, Hollywood is just not...
No, they are not ethical.
No! And this goes for, like, things like Nickelodeon, because, and that's a whole thing we could actually get into, by the way. Like,
there's
Nickelodeon
so much to be said here.
Right, there's just, I feel like there's a lot of specific people in power that are trying to hide specific things.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just a whole thing we could get into.
So, for me personally... And I'm sure there are many theories. Obviously, that's why it's called a quote-unquote conspiracy theory, which I think is not the best word to use, because I personally feel like that word is thrown about to kind of discredit things.
Sure.
But it's like, we're literally just free-thinking people, just putting pieces together.
Yeah.
We're just trying to figure out what actually happened.
Right.
And they're over here trying to say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, therefore it's... It makes it sound like it's not real, that it's fake or whatever. That, oh, these people are just crazy or whatever. No, but I think it's just literally people thinking, you know, critically thinking about the scenario. And being like, okay, something doesn't seem quite right here.
Right.
So, for me, I'm sure this is probably common knowledge at this point. I don't know. But Marilyn Monroe... did have an affair with JFK.
Yes. That was a whole thing.
It's 100% fact.
Right.
She did.
Yes.
She was sleeping with the president.
She was sleeping with the president.
So she was, and obviously these are very high up elite folks, and you kind of need to know what you're getting involved with when you are doing these kind of things.
Right, yes, of course.
And like, there's literally film of her. Like, have you seen her coming out like one of his birthdays while he was president?
Oh yes, the happy birthday to you. Yes.
So that's when she was like freaking having an affair with him. She came out on stage and did a whole like happy birthday thing for him.
Oh my gosh. I did know about this. YouTube. Yeah. Oh, I know. I've seen this. I know, girl.
So basically, I've done a lot of research into this personally.
Right.
And it's messy.
Yeah. I mean, obviously an affair is messy. Like...
But with the president of the United States.
That makes it even worse.
Yes.
Has to.
And their relationship wasn't really that great, obviously. Like, he's married, he's the president, he's having an affair with this, you know, celebrity superstar. And things were, like, kind of getting on the rocks a bit with their side relationship
Sure.
thing.
Of course.
And from what I've heard in my research is that she basically threatened him at some point that she was going to blab.
Oh,
because things weren't going well. They were having issues. I don't think he was very good to her.
Sure.
She has a history with being in abusive relationships.
Right.
And stuff. And so it wasn't going well. And so she basically said, you know, if you don't blah, 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 then I'm going to come out. I'm going to tell the world that we're having this affair.
Right.
Basically.
Damn. So this could become almost like a blackmailing kind of situation.
Yes.
Which is not good. We do not condone that. But it was still...
I think that was her downfall. Honestly.
Probably.
In my opinion. I could be wrong.
If this went down... If this actually went down... If this went down... Yes. I would absolutely say...
footage.
I would say this was her downfall.
There's actual recorded footage of them talking on the phone.
Right.
Because people keep tabs of stuff like that.
They keep the information of what the president's saying.
So it's pretty well documented, in my opinion, that she was basically trying to blackmail him, and she was threatening him and said that she was basically going to blab to the world about what they were doing. Right.
Wow.
And I think because of that, and because of just who she was messing around with, I think that they were scared and they really thought that she was going to blab. And imagine what would have happened if she came out publicly and told the world. Over. Yeah. Like, the dude would have probably been impeached. Like, it would have been this whole freaking thing.
Right.
So, that's kind of... That's crazy. So, in my opinion, I think that they basically killed her.
Something was coordinated.
It was coordinated. Very elaborately coordinated, that they basically put these pills in her room or whatever that were like, it was too much. It was too many milligrams or whatever. Because it's very common for, celebrities to be on sleeping pills and stuff like that. Like, that's a very common thing.
Judy Garland was the same way.
We talked about Judy Garland. Yeah. Like, it's a very common thing for them to kind of be hooked on these kind of things. So I think they arranged it so that she was basically overdosing without realizing it.
Do you feel like, and I'm personally I'm going to challenge what you're saying, like, not to like disagree with you or anything like that. I just want to say this. Do you feel like that there's a possibility that with the whole affair that was going on, that she was starting to get super discouraged about certain things, and that she came to, and obviously we all don't know specifically, right. Technically, we don't ever fully know what happened, but like, part of me has thought about it in that way, where like, it actually, maybe her passing actually had something to do with the fact that like, she, obviously, like, they weren't in a mentally good place.
Yeah.
And
I mean, her mom was technically diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic.
Sure. I mean, there's definitely different ways to go about this.
There is nuance here.
And it's super, just as a whole, before we say any more, obviously this is terrible.
Yeah.
And her passing was horrible, and we all love her dearly. And I think she was just truly an icon and just a brilliant actress in the Hollywood industry.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But like with that kind of an argument, I feel like there's also the possibility of like, maybe like all this shit was going down, and they're like, I mean, obviously it was going down, and maybe she, I don't know, maybe it was just too much for her or something at some point, and something happened.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't want to...
I don't want to discredit anyone's thoughts about this.
Yeah.
Because I want to have an open mind about it.
Right.
But, like, I feel like... And obviously we don't know specifically. But I feel like that also could be a possibility of what could
Yeah,
have gone
I mean,
down.
it's definitely a possibility.
Sure.
I don't want to take away from any theories whatsoever.
Sure.
Because it's just I respect her as an actress and as
I
a
do
person.
too.
And so any possibility, honestly, I'm open to. I'm
Sure.
just speaking from
I mean, obviously,
stuff
like, this
that
is...
I've heard.
This is just... I mean, this is stuff that we have on record. Like, this is just proof of stuff that went down.
Yeah.
So we're just... As individuals, we're just trying to put the pieces together.
Right.
Of, like, what could have possibly... Or what, you know, what went down.
I just happen to know because I've seen a lot of like documentaries and interviews and stuff around this topic, and people that were close to her have been on camera speaking about this.
And they just like, they just don't understand.
Literally, like the people who are closest to her have said that they didn't think that she was suicidal, that they genuinely do not understand why she would take her life at that point in time specifically.
Right.
So based on, you know, accounts that I've heard from people who were close to her, who are saying these things, is what kind of adds
Lucy.
to the whole thing for me, that makes it seem fishy, in my opinion.
Of course.
Because people who are close to her were saying...
And again, I want to address this to the public. I'm not degrading anything that you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, these could be possibilities that could have happened. I'm just trying to kind of open the horizon of other things that could be the case.
Right.
Because at the end of the day... We don't know what was going on.
Of course,
in
nobody
Marilyn
knows.
Monroe's mind.
Nobody knows.
We don't fully know what was going on in her situation. Do we need to let her out? I can hold her or something. Are we good?
It's fine.
I just want to kind of have an open mind regarding that.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I mean, I don't even know what time we are at. I mean, I feel like we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, we probably should
This has been a long-ass episode, which is okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
is a lot of stuff we have been, like, kind of, we want to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a whole
topic.
There's
thing.
Obviously more that we could even go into.
And if we need to do a part 3, honey, let's do a part 3.
Okay.
Because we can just wrap it up with like other stuff. Because this has been so good. Lucy's ready to get out of the cage, you guys. She's ready to get out of the crate.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and wrap it up, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. And if any of you are interested, we do have an Etsy store open. Just go on there by searching Uncork and Listen. We also do have I do believe we have the description on our YouTube as well as on Spotify.
Yeah.
So just go on there and check it out if you want. If you did enjoy this episode, you guys, if you're listening on YouTube, please give it a like. We really would appreciate it. We also do have an Instagram account. Mm-hmm. If you just go on there, follow us. We're going to try to do some more posting, you guys. It's really fun. This has really been fun.
Yeah.
We do appreciate it. But yeah, again, thank you guys for joining us today. Hope you all will see us next time.
Yeah.
It's been good, guys.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.